Everybody, welcome to the Personal Mastery Alliance. I'm your host, Barry White. No, some of you may not know who Barry White is, but he's your soul brother. Anyways, I just got back from the Cayman Islands on a nice little getaway. Thought, at my age, I could push this thing. Got home late. The flight was a little late getting home. Still got up for my workout because of that commitment of mine. So only getting maybe a couple hours sleep. That's it. Felt great doing it, but then I thought, okay, I have a couple of days. I'll just do more resting and still stay committed. And then Wednesday, so that was a Monday, Wednesday night. I had a night where I was up, turning, twisting, turning. Bam! That's all I needed. 2 days in a row, 2 days somewhat consecutively, and that's it. My immune said, "Nah, you stay. You're going down." So here I am, sounding a little. I'm gonna be delivering to you slow and sexy. You feel me? Anyways,
Mhm.
um, so today, as usual, if you're just joining us, if it's your first time listening, what we usually do, we call it soul food. We usually give you nourishment for the soul. We personal mastery training is all about this idea that we don't own the truth, but we're continually searching for something close, and there is no truth in the universe, really and truly. It's everything is it changes, and that's a conversation today. Everything is amorphous. It just changes. It's like Bruce Lee said, be like water. Bruce gave us some great advice there. You got to be like water in life, because you have plans, and life will throw you something different, right? There's no 100%. So that's what personal mastery training is all about. It's about taming the inner game just enough so you can feel a sense of mastery over your life. So we throw you a topic of conversation, and we dissect it, we deliver it, we cook it up, we make some soul food so we can nourish your soul. So today there's three of us today. We got Ray and Dr. Charlie, and one of us brings the main meal. And today it's Ray. Ray brings the main meal, topic of conversation. And the goal is that we stimulate you to think, to challenge, to question some of what we say, to journal would be super nice for you to take this away and journal on it. Because again, a life unexamined isn't worth living. All right. So let's go to it. Ray, tell us what your topic of conversation is today. What did you bring as a main meal, my brother?
All right. Well, thank you, Alvin, and excited to get on this conversation with you guys and every listeners out there. So I read a great wisdom this week from a gentleman called Dr. Robert Gilbert, and here's what he says. He says, "The person that you are right now is as transient and fleeting and temporary as all the people you have ever met." Okay, so when I was thinking about that, I realized one thing. I realized that whoever we are today, or the version that we are today, is passing through, and same as anybody else. Okay, so today, who we were 5 years ago, it's gone. And what that gives me in the end, when I really think about it, is a lot of freedom. It makes me re examine presence, the present moment, but it also tells me in the end, um, that we need to have a little bit more urgency about certain things. And here's what I mean, okay? When I think of freedom, it tells me that whatever situation we're in, whether in our environment, within ourselves, it doesn't matter, we're never stuck in it. Everything changes. You started the conversation by saying, Alvin, be like water. When we look at water, when we look at the river flow, when we look at the ocean, no uh, drop of water is exactly at the same place, ever. Okay? The wind moves it, different things affect it, same thing as us. Okay, so we can change our bodies, we can change our minds, we can change our income, our situation, our relationship. It really doesn't matter in the end. Okay, everything is passing through. That tells me there's so much freedom into this. We are never stuck anywhere. It's a matter of perspective, it's a matter of decision. Now, also, when I talk about presence, I feel like this is um, this is the key that really unlocks everything, because whoever is sleeping needs to awake. Okay, needs to simply awake. By awaking, you can see a whole new world. You can start to and whatever you see, you can act on it in the end. Okay, and by seeing, it's not necessarily just with your eyes. Okay, it can be with your heart, it could be with your mind, with your soul. There's different ways of seeing, but that's a whole different conversation, that we can talk about. I remember going to Disney World 2 years ago, and what struck me so much, okay, when I got out of that, I was looking at all the details, and then I reminded myself, wow, someone dreamt about this before it was even manifested. Okay, someone dreamt about this, and when you look at it, you can tell yourself, man, how can someone create something like this? Seriously. But someone dreamt about it before it was even real. Someone foresaw it. Okay. And lastly, when I talk about urgency, also, it tells me that the people that we have in our lives and the things that are good for us, the things that we appreciate, are not guaranteed. Okay, our health is not guaranteed. We don't know the countdown to our lives, but if we're here talking and listening, we've been gifted something today. Okay, and we can give it value by truly soaking in it and living it and being present in it and seeing it for what it is, or we can simply let it go by, not giving any urgency to it, any importance to it, as if it's gonna renew forever. Okay, and that's really what it tells me. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
Another great topic today, fellas. When I'm thinking about this, to me, it's really realizing that we have the opportunity anytime to take control of our outcomes, right? We are not simply swept down the river of life and we just have no control, and and the outcomes are the outcomes. And I feel like sometimes it's easy for people just to do that life kind of sweeps them downstream, and so they're just along for the ride, not realizing that, hey, at any time they can choose to change direction, they can take a different direction, right? And that's really exciting because at any time we're always one decision away from changing our life. That's the reality. And this process and life it's a process. And every decade I always look back. When I was 10 years old, I look back. When I was 20, I look back to when I was 10. When I was 30, I look back to when I was 20. When I was 40, I look back to 30. And there's significant differences in who I am as a person and my thought processes. But it's because of the work that's in between, that's been put in between there. And I'm excited to see, what this next decade will hold and the things that I'll learn and discover. And the amazing thing about it, too, is that when we continue to grow as individuals, that speed increases, our growth increases, our personal growth increases because we have so much knowledge and information stored already. So when we bring new things in, it tends to grow our understanding exponentially. So the more we put in, the more we have. And that's something that Warren Buffett said many times. He said, works like compound interest. And at first you don't have much. And then all of a sudden that compounding effect happens and you have this great wealth that turns into wisdom, hopefully. So it's exciting time to be alive and to learn and to grow. And with that, I'll pass the mic. Oh man, what a great probably one of my favorite topics or conversations to have is about change. We have every human. This is Tony Robbins often mentions it, the six human needs. And remember, it's a need, human. It's not a option for some of us. Some of us ignore it, but it's a need, and one of the need is growth. We all need to feel like we're growing in some way, And again, it's not anyone's definition of growth, but it's growth. We need to feel like we're growing, and the other part of the human need is variety. We need to feel like we have some variety, right? And when we don't, we get stir crazy. This is where people can get a little do things that seem off the cuff, but it's not. It's a human need. So this idea that I love this conversation because I go back to William Shakespeare's quote that I often quote and bring back the wisdom, and it's his wisdom that he left behind. This is the reason why when you listen to us enough, we change it from the word quoting to wisdom, because these are all little. When you say quote, it seems so lightweight. Oh, another quote. Here you go. But when you take it as a wisdom that these people, it's like you today, the listener, us. When we go through some struggle, we might go through 5, 10, a year of struggling, and we do our best to summarize it into one or two sentences for somebody to kind of appreciate what you went through and learn from you. So these are what quotes are. So William Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man or woman in his or her lifetime plays many parts. This acts being seven ages. So again, we're all someone comes in and out of and they're players in this play that you create. And don't forget, you're creating this play. This is your game. And I think a lot of times when you talk about Ray that we're transient and fleeting and temporary, I think it's true. The issue is a lot of times we get stuck to culture. Culture, our environment, our ecosystem keeps us stuck because when we pop out of that womb, we're plugged into a environment that we didn't ask for. We just got plugged into it, and we start to becoming cultured by our environment. So over time, you start to take on the character of your environment. You start to believe, oh, I'm a Italian, Jamaican, American, Canadian, African, whatever it is. So here comes the concrete base now that's being formed, right? So each time that we take these things on, they become our character, our permanent character. I'm black, I'm white, I'm this, I'm that. And it's hard then, oh, we don't do that here. Oh, we don't do that. In the many people will tell you that in the black culture, it's very difficult for us to ask for mental help and so on because we don't do that here. We're tough. We've been cultured and trained to be tough, to get through it because our old 400 plus, maybe who knows how long it's been, you had to be tough. So now here we are rolling forward when things have changed and we don't ask for help as much. We just learn to suffer because it's been just the way. So but things are open to change, right? We are transient. We do have the ability to change, but it's hard to let that go. So a lot of times when you find it's hard to evolve and move on, it's typically because of the old belief systems that we're born in. You got to question those things. It's very difficult too. And by the way, we go back to um, old wiring of being afraid of humans are being afraid of being tossed out of the group because at the end of the day, it means survival. So neurologically wired in us is this need to belong to a group. And it makes sense because to wander around never knowing, never locking into something, a root, that's not human like either. But we also have to be careful of what the root is producing because again, for me to walk around, there's certain parts of being Jamaican that are powerful. You know, out of 3 million people, we have this survival rate that's high. First of all, creativity comes out of there, and being strong comes out of there because you learn to survive. However, on the flip side, there's other things that are weaknesses that we hold on to. I know in India, for instance, diabetes, and in different cultures, it's so there's different things where we're addicted to. So we got to investigate what we're holding on to in our lives, that we need to keep your culture. Not saying to get rid of it. Some of your culture is great. Italians, awesome. French, whatever it is, keep it. But what do you need to modify to become more of who you are and let go of this staunch belief that keeps you held, that keeps you locked in, and you just know it. Somehow in your mind and your soul, there's a disconnect. This doesn't work anymore. Because remember, sometimes we're living off of belief systems that are 1950s, 30s, 40s, whoever handed that down. It brings me back to the classic story of the wife making, in the kitchen, she's making pot roast. I'll bring back the story. She's making a pot roast. Her partner's watching her and he says, "Why do you cut the ends off the pot roast?" She says, "I don't know. That's just what we do." He says, "Okay, I'm going to go ask your mom when I see her again." So sees the mom. He said, "Why do you guys cut the end off the pot roast?" She goes, "I don't know. That's just what we do. We don't eat the end of the pot roast." Okay, cool. Grandma was luckily alive. So he caught Grandma. "Hey, Gram, why do you guys cut the end off the pot roast?" She goes, "I don't know. That's what we. No one eats the end of the pot roast in my community. No one eats the end of it." He goes, "Okay," but she goes, "I do know though that back in the day my oven was too small, so we couldn't fit it in." So you know what I mean. So now they've taken this idea that we just don't eat the end of the pot roast, and they put it in because it was by accommodation they had to cut the ends off. So now it goes forward in 2025. We just don't eat that pot roast. It's right. So what pot roast are you not eating? Right? What thing are you doing right now that is affecting your relationship, your professional life, your personal life, your mindset? That is all things you're holding on to. Because trust me, those things, they can seem so real. They can seem so hard, fast that we just don't do that. How you guys so crazy? How you guys doing that? How you guys? So yeah, what is it? I love this idea that we can change. The character that you have is just a character right now. What do you need to do to change that, to level you up to that next level, to find peace, emotional, mental, financial, whatever it is? Something's blocking you. The obstacle is the way. And what is that that's stopping you from being fluid and dynamic? So with that, I'll pass the mic. On mute, Ray. There we go.
All right. All right. I'm back. It, it's so true that we're affected by so many things, especially culturally. Culturally, and when you dive deeper, you start to understand. Uh, there's someone pretty close to me, okay, and I learned recently she grew up in a Middle Eastern country, okay, and just by great family, right? But just by their beliefs, she was the youngest, uh, and she had older brothers, and she wasn't allowed listening to music. Uh, her brothers would literally hit her whenever they found out she was trying to sneak out listening to music because that's how they were taught. They didn't want certain words or certain thing to get into her head, right? And once she hit a certain age, I believe like 12 to 14, I don't remember, she told me she wasn't allowed, to go out anymore. A lot of things, but to us, maybe that makes no sense, but to them, it's been going on like that for so many years. So now you have an adult who lives her own life now, who's not in that country, who's in Canada now, and she's fighting her want to live her life and also what's been ingrained in her. Okay, whereas like she has this dissonance all the time where she doesn't want to put that on her children. Now she has a teenage daughter. She doesn't want to put that on her children, but once in a while it just comes out. Certain things comes out, and then she catches herself
Beautiful.
and remembers because man, that's how she was brought up. So you
That's
see how
exactly.
deep that is, right?
That's
How
exactly it.
deep that is. But now what's that telling me too, as I'm listening to both of you guys and taking my notes, I realize that this fleeting nature of life, this transient nature, also tells us that evolving and growing takes shedding. In life, we tend to think we have to accumulate, right? We always want to accumulate more wealth, more this, more that. I'm not saying that's bad, but really, in the end, as you truly grow on the wisdom that you've acquired, most of the time, you realize things that really you have to let go. Okay, you go back to really the essence and the nature and the pureness of things, and that's where true power lies. You cannot be the butterfly and the caterpillar. Right? Man, you have to let one of them go. Same things, so as you embark on a journey to personal mastery, what happens most of the time, okay, is that you step out of your comfort zone. So you let go of your comfort zone. Okay, uh you let go of certain maybe beliefs that have been holding you down, or you start to challenge them to evolve, okay, to get somewhere else. So that's really what it's telling me right now. In that, yeah, shedding and letting go is such a powerful element to growth, okay? In contrary to always adding something new, because when we all think of it, the more we learn, guys, and the more we have those conversations, the more we realize we came into this world with everything we need. Okay, everything we need already to be happy. What happens is that this happiness gets clouded by things that are inserted. Okay, often they come from outside and then they affect the inside. So on the inside, when we make that inventory, as Brandon always says, then you can pick and choose which one to, okay, I don't need this anymore. This doesn't serve me anymore. Okay, and then you get back to the essence of what it is that you truly need, you know so man, with that, I'll pass the mic.
We're talking about personal growth, and it reminds me that so many mammals start out as an egg, right? And you think about like an eagle, for instance. It's a huge bird, majestic, and but it starts out in this egg. And for that eagle to ever take flight to become this huge, majestic bird, that egg has to be destroyed, right? It has to get out of that, it has to shed it. And I think so many times in life, it's easy for people to stay in their shell, right? That, hey, this is what I know. It's comfortable. I'm just going to stay in this little shell that I've created for my life. And you can do that, but you'll never experience the growth and the potential that you truly have. But in order to experience that growth potential, you do have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to destroy that shell, destroy that egg. When I think about a large seed, a large tree, like my favorite trees are those giant sequoia trees, right? And they're huge, they're so tall, hundreds of feet tall and massive circumference, and then the weight is just astronomical of those trees. But again, started out as a small seed. But again, for that tree to reach that stature, at some point that shell is destroyed, right? And it grows out of that. So a lot of times when we're looking at our growth as individuals, we got to break out of something. And so that former life that we had, or that former way of doing things that we had, has to go away, right? And it's simple things sometimes. Like for me, I've been a night owl since I was a teenager. Oh, night owl, night owl, night owl. But when I started letting go of some of the things that I was doing at night, watching movies, watching TV, playing video games, when I started letting go of those things, because I'm like, there's not a lot of value there for me to watch a movie or watch this show at this time of night or play a game. All of a sudden, there's no need to stay up to midnight. There's not a need to stay up till 11. There's not a need to stay up till 10 some nights. So a lot of times I find myself going to bed and getting that 8 to 10 hours of sleep that my body needs. But I had to let go of some of those things that were no longer serving me. And matter of fact, they never did serve me, really. And so that's a part of the personal growth process, is doing an assessment. Is this really serving me? And if it's not, then you'll find the benefit very quickly once you let that go. So at that, I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, I love this conversation again. And you both hit on some key points here that applies to everyone. When you think about, let's take about a group, an immigrant group who comes to a new country from a country that's, maybe war torn or a lot of struggle. And then they'll come to this new country, and they'll find, obviously, for inclusion, they'll find a space, a group, an area that's, you know, in their own culture, and maybe a community that's strongly their culture. And then you notice that the same thing we attempt to get away from starts happening because of enculturation. Either they found a faction group that they don't like that's from that place, and they start this little thing, and or I don't like that culture, East Africa, West, what, you name it, right? Ukraine versus, we can go on and on. Or as they say, you can take the boy or the woman out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy or the woman, because you again, because it's just this belief. And Ray brought it up. That person he brought up that was beaten or abused or whatever happened over listening to music. I had a guy that one of my clients. He had his kids, and he didn't want the kids to listen to any of the latest on the radio, the latest pop or whatever it was at the time. So he would, every time they're in the car, he'd put on church music and just play church music for them, which is cool. But does that allow them then to get into human and into society later on when he's not around, and be open to choosing their path, so it doesn't become arduous? The idea that believing in God doesn't become this thing where it's a trap or it feels like a jail sentence to these kids. That's my opinion, anyways. Is allow them to listen to, or be, obviously not the gross, languages, but listen to all the choices. To put them in the car and say the entire drive will be just church music, and lock them off from any other, in a world where they have this sense of freedom. It always makes people want to go and find out what's happening over here. What am I hiding from? So my kids have grown very well, and they've been able to listen to anything, because this idea of being, remember, one of the human needs is to grow, to feel free, to love, connect. No one likes to feel trapped. So now you have this person you're telling us about, Ray, who been beaten if she listens to music. And now I'm so happy that she is able, because it's very hard, to be mindful enough to catch herself when she's moving into the belief system, when she's finding herself slipping, because it's very hard. When this stuff has been stuffed into your unconscious, it's not as easy as we say to just drop it, because it becomes your belief. It's what we do. It's what we do. This is what we do. And it becomes a we thing. All of a sudden it's now your belief too. This thing you keep doing. If some of the time, so I'll be real with you and raw with you a little bit. Some of the times when my father wasn't around, you'd always yearn, oh man, I wonder what it's like, to have him around, and well, how would have been different. I see some kids with their dads, maybe doing some stuff with them in the park, or teaching them mechanics, or you wonder, wow, what would it have been like? And as I grew older, I said, thank God I wasn't around, because there's some things he wasn't a great person. But I bet you I would have picked up some of them that weren't great. Maybe drinking, maybe abusing, maybe hating for color, for whatever. Maybe. Because at some point he would have been somewhat of my hero, possibly my influence. So now I look back and I say, okay, um, sometimes you're yearning for something, but you don't realize it's a setup for something better. My mom became my influence. So now when people say, how you like that? Oftentimes I thought, oh, maybe it's my dad. No, it's my mom. She, the way I am today is a lot of my mom's belief system came onto me. So be careful what you ask for. You got to investigate it. So I'm so glad she was able to be mindful enough to catch herself and say, whoa, I got to change this direction from where this is going, because he's going to hand that down, the pot roast story, hand it down to the kids. They'll then take that. Sometimes you look at abuse and it's generational. It takes them through, right? This is what you do. Kids should be heard and not. All those old belief systems from my era, sit and be, you should be heard and not seen, and all this kind, seen and not heard. So kids don't speak. The communication's out there. Today it's changing, it's shifting. So I love that. Um, the butterfly and the caterpillar. Oh, beautiful. You can't be both at the same time. And Dr. Charlie brought up the whole idea behind the egg and the eagle and so on. The oak tree sleeping is a small little seed, and it grows to be an oak tree. Same thing. And then I would also tie in, let's go with that theme, the great story about the man who leaves his son with a cocoon, and he says, I'll be back in. I'm going away for the weekend. Don't touch this. I'll be back. What we're going to witness a beautiful butterfly when this comes out. So don't touch it. I'll be back. Goes away for the weekend, comes back. The butterfly's on the ground, dead. He says, what happened to it? He goes, I don't know. It would look like it was struggling. I tried to help it get out, and it just died. And he said, oh, you didn't. He says, here's the thing. That struggle to get out is what strengthens its wings. You actually took it away from him. Now it fell. It couldn't support itself. He said, oh. And so a lot of times you keep going that metaphor of the butterfly, the caterpillar, the egg. Sometimes we do have to go through that struggle to find ourselves to change. Like your friend she had to go through that struggle. She had to go through that catching herself and rewiring the belief systems, the anchoring. And sometimes when she's been hit or physically harmed for doing this thing, that becomes a stronger anchor, because now they've anchored not only the sign, the sin, but this physical feeling. That's a strong anchor. So give her kudos for breaking that, because that can be a strong one. So, and I love what Dr. Charlie was saying too, and he said something interesting. He said, I'm excited to see the next decade. See, that's the beauty of adapting to change. He's excited to see it. A lot of people, you know, one of the One of the things that I often hate when people say is aging sucks, man. Aging sucks. Ah, it sucks to get old, Alvin. Don't get old. I'm like, what's the other option, first of all? And second of all, if you're investing in a lot of things, one, your health, and two, your finance, aging is a nice thing. Because one, health, number one, if I'm investing in my health like I am right now at 57, I'm excited about what 67 looks like. Do I think I will be the same at 67 as I am now? No, I'll be a little less vital and a little less, but a little less. But I'll be the best 67. And what will I be at 87? The best 87, barring any other unfortunate things. I'll be the best 87, the best 97 at 97. I'm not going to try to be 27. So the future is great. I'm okay with that. I'm adaptable. I'm adaptable that it takes a little longer to feel a new workout, to get over the soreness, but I'm adaptable. Financially, if I'm prepared, I don't have to keep working because I'm prepared. So this idea of being realizing that we're transient and we're fluid allows you to prepare for what's coming. So with that, pass the mic.
There's term in French. I don't know exactly how to say it in English, but my wife always jokes around with me about it, saying I have like a diagnosed thing with authority. Okay,
Say,
like a
say it in
diagnosed problem.
say it in French for our French listeners, and then you'll
Um, Trouble d'opposition à l'autorité. Okay,
mm,
so basically she's saying, hey, it's okay to be a little bit rebellious in certain things, but like you take it somewhere else, with
uh,
authority.
right.
And I don't see it that way. And I don't
Hmm.
see it that way at all. I actually take full ownership of it because I realized that okay, uh, first it's a joke, and two, I'm not the only one. Okay, I'm not the only one where, hey, for some reason, whenever I see people, okay, truly taking steps to take control of their own lives, from within, okay, to do things every single day to write their story, to live in their purpose, to be present in the moment. I find that exciting. Charlie talked about being excited for the next 10 years. Well, that's exciting for me. It brings fire, as I say, heart on fire, right? And I realize that when I'm around people who are very negative about their own self, uh, who talk down on themselves about the possibilities and things like that, I'm like, well, there's a clash. It really drains, and I'm like, okay, if I'm wrong, if I'm wrong for putting my eggs in this basket of positivity and opportunity and belief, I'd rather be wrong, and maybe if there's a therapist listening, you can shoot me an email, let me know, but anyways, that's how I see it. Okay, and I believe that, like, when we're in tough situations, let's say that friend I talked about, okay, and we've all been in certain situations. It's so easy to think in that moment that it's gonna last forever, okay, because we don't know. But the reality of it, as we just talked about it, everything is fleeting in some shape or form. But I always also tells me that all you have is right now. And what you do in this moment, it's so immensely important, even if it's just to say something positive, okay, about you, even if it's just to see like one gleam of light. It's so immensely important. And Alvin, you will relate to this because you always talk about this. It's how you show up. The way that you show up dictates absolutely everything. Okay. I learned last week, I thought that was very interesting too. You know, when um, someone sets their alarm clock and they hit that snooze button in the morning. And it happened to all of us. It happened to me, on certain Sunday mornings, let's say, where, I'll hit the snooze button. I don't really think, hey, I'll be back up in 5 minutes. And then next thing you know, you just jump out of bed and you're like, man, it's been 45 minutes. What just happened,
Oh
right?
yeah, the worst feeling.
Exactly. But I realized that our brain is set up that way where, there are different sleep cycles. Okay. And every sleep cycle takes about, I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I'll just throw a number out there. Let's say 45 minutes. Okay. Let's say 45 minutes. Well, when you hit that snooze button and close your eyes, it it's not I'm gonna wake up in 5 minutes. It's restarting another sleep cycle, basically, right? So, and when you wake up, you're that much more tired the whole day. It's much better to show up in that moment and get up out of bed right now. So that's what I'm saying. And like what you do right now is so immensely important to shape everything, everything else. So in every moment, it's good to get in the habit of just of catching ourselves and asking ourselves the question, okay? I can choose A, I can choose B. Which one is really, really good for me? And which one is not so good for me ultimately? Okay, and the more times I do what's good for me, the more time I do what builds me up, makes my present that much better, because in the end that's all I have. That's all I have. I don't have the future yet. Okay, and the past is behind. It's still affecting me, yes, but what I do right now also shape what's next. Okay, and maybe deep down, I don't know if it's the same for everyone. I'm curious to know what you think, Charlie or Alvin, but I know if ever while we're here, we can contribute to something that lasts a little bit beyond us, or even that much further. How exciting is that? You know, how powerful that is. Why do we have this buried deep within? Is because I believe it matters, and because I believe that every single one of us listening right now, um, this is also part of our purpose and our experience here, you know, to contribute to each other. To, we always say, leave a place a little bit better than you found it, you know, that's an amazing thing. Well, the only way that happens is one step at a time through little actions that immensely matter right now, you know. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
I love what you had to say there, Ray, about how we show up. And it's so important. And it's fascinating with the sleep cycle. And one of the things that I think is a really easy hack, a really quick fix, is to really be mindful of how we wake up, right? The attitude. What attitude do we wake up with in the morning? The alarm goes off, and is it, well, if we start out the day that way, there's no momentum, there's no excitement, there's no energy to have a positive day, to have an outstanding day. I remember when my oldest she was a little girl, and probably from the time she was 2 years old on, I mean, when her eyes opened, when she woke up, boom, her feet hit the floor and she was gone. Like she was just so excited about life. There's so many things to do and see and learn. And so she immediately just boom. And so you always had to wake up before her because in the morning she would be throughout the house. And, that attitude is really something that we should all strive for is that, hey, when that alarm goes off, it means we've got another opportunity and our feet should hit the floor and our attitude should be one of, hey, this is going to be a great day. I'm going to have an impact. I've got another opportunity to change the course of my life or continue in a direction that's really, really positive. And there's just so many simple things like people take for granted making the bed. And yeah, it's nice to have a well-made bed and it's neat and it's those kind of things, but it creates momentum. It creates momentum. And you're done, you shower and you're grooming and you're dressed, and then you look back and your bed's made. I mean, you're ready to roll. You started off your day with a lot of positive momentum. Whereas if you look back at your bed and it's disheveled, then it detracts and takes away from the potential energy that you would have otherwise. So with that, I'll pass the mic.
Two great conversation there. One, the power of now. Yes, there's a lot of power. This is not easy, by the way. These are not easy concepts to master. Being present. We make it sound easy. Oh, just power of now. But we all know the human mind is at play here, where we have an affinity to time travel. Typically in the past, it'd be regret. Most people, it's rare, very rare that a lot of people spend time fondly, always thinking about, oh man, I did so good in that Little League World Series. Oh man, geez, that raise I got, I know I did that. I did a great job. Oh yeah, wow, that one math problem I had, I did great on it. Oh yeah, those people who left comments on my thing, they were all great. There's only one that wasn't great. They were all great. No, no, you know what people do? They go back in their mind. They're like, oh, I didn't do well on that one thing. Geez, what a shame. I felt shame. Oh, they caught me doing this. Oh yeah, I was listening to music, and my brothers caught me. That was shameful. I shouldn't have been doing that. Oh, it's against my religion to do that. I was hanging out with that wrong person there, and I shame, guilt, and regret. Oh, I wish I would have done. So most people don't spend time fondly, most times fondly going over the great things. So we go back, we have regret. Future. Oh, this is coming up. Oh my God, my rent's due. Oh, I'm not gonna make the end of the month now. Oh, we're gonna make that. I gotta. Boy, I'd like to get away somewhere. I can't. So the noise and staying present is it's think about it. Right now, someone's in their past thinking about what I just said, or in their future going, "Oh, this is coming up." So it's power of now, though, is you're right here, right now. Every moment is right now, right now. One of the things I do when I work out with people and I'm in their heads, I go, this next rep is right now. Don't worry about the last rep. I know the last rep felt hard, but focus on this rep. And I know then you think there's four more to go, but just focus on this rep, every rep. Just take the rep because it just brings you present. Because if you're concerned about the last rep was hard, the next one, I got four left, it's going to make them harder. But stay present. Present moment is super powerful. It's where change can happen. It's where so many things you can right or wrong. I can call somebody if I felt bad about something I said and say, I'm sorry. In the future, I can prepare. Oh, I got this thing coming up. I'm going to prepare right now powerfully. So it's everything. So it's a very powerful concept, this idea of the power of now, but it takes practice. It's not human nature, by the way. So don't beat yourself up. If you are thinking everybody else has got this now thing down, they don't. It's a practice. Um, every moment is a practice of this now thing. And the second powerful thing I found, Dr. Charlie said, your daughter getting up and hitting the ground running, like excited about life. So now I wonder, chicken or egg? How do we get excited about life? Do we get up, hit the ground running? Or is it the flip side, right? Do you have to be excited about something, or do you be excited first? So, what's a good plan here? Is it that I make a plan regardless if there's something to be excited about? Am I do I get excited by the habit of popping my eyes open, popping up, get excited, get moving fast because the body in motion stays in motion, and then attack my day in that manner? Or is it I'm waiting for the day to excite me to get me up and going, right? Or do I attack the day? It brings me back to the thermostat and the being a thermometer. Do I wake up being the thermostat that sets the tone for everything else, which becomes a thermometer? I'm the one who raises the heat. I'm the one who lowers and makes it colder. I'm the one who is the lead here on my life. So do we get excited by just simply the habits of, say, getting up, hitting that alarm instead of, again, you might have an exciting day, but if you get up like, oh wow, it's morning already. Oh, I need 10, at least 10 more. Another 10. I need another 2 hours to even get going. So now you're not excited. Or you get up going, yes, I get another day. Let's go get this. Whatever it is that comes into my trajectory, I'm going to change that thing. I am the thermostat, right? I am going to affect that meeting that I have coming up. Yes, looking forward to it. Because, when they leave that meeting, I'm going to crush the hell out of that meeting. Whenever I'm meeting with this person or meeting with this group or doing whatever it is, I'm excited. See, I tend to be of that kind where I'm an early riser. See, that belief system, I am. That's what I tell myself, and I am. I'm an early riser, so I get up at 4:30. As I started this call with, coming from the islands, my flight was 2 hours late. I got home too late, and I got about 2 hours sleep. But I popped up out of bed, went to the gym, did my thing, and went through my day. Was I tired? Absolutely, I was tired. Was I at my best? No. But by the time I finished my workout and got my tasks done, I was feeling pretty good. Top notch? No. But I was still feeling pretty good. But it set me up for the rest of the week. My clients couldn't have told that I got 2 hours sleep, and so on. Because I became the thermostat. As opposed to getting home, oh, is it that time? Right? Drag myself. Maybe not go to the gym, start to feel, and then down goes the slide. I'm going to be tired anyways, but when I be excited, right? And I was excited to get there. So, I think your daughter taught you a good lesson, or us a good lesson. Pop up, hit the ground running, and become the thermostat. Set the tone for the day, and let's see what happens. Day's gonna happen anyway. I might as well be the director of this movie instead of a cast role, a small bit player in the movie, right? Shakespeare's quote. So, yeah, I think that's a powerful concept, man. Your daughter taught us well. So, with that, pass back for the final few words, or the word of the what we're going to leave with.
Yes. Yes. So I'll just finish off by giving a few basic, very basic tools, because you're so right. We're all right. Being in the present moment is difficult. Okay, it's difficult, man. This mind is throwing a bunch of things at us. So a couple basic tools that can help everyone, and that are not so difficult to implement in the moment. Okay, first thing is do everything in your power to try to get whatever you have in your head outside of your head. I'll give you one quick example. Okay. Um, I know how to work out. I've been training people for years, but right now I got on this challenge with Alvin, right? And why it helps me in this moment is because I don't have to think about creating my workouts. I don't have to think about what I'm going. I have a plan. Okay, I don't have to think about the plan. I had to commit to the plan. That's what I had to do. Okay, so I guess that's the word. But once you commit to the plan, I don't think. I know that okay, when I wake up, I'm an early riser, just like Alvin, beliefs, systems. But when I wake up on Monday, I know exactly what I'm doing Monday morning. Okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it's out of my head completely. Okay,
Boy, Ray,
that
Ray,
definitely helps.
this is a
Yeah.
whole other podcast right here, brother. But this has got to be another podcast. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, right. So tr- everything that you can do to get things out of your head, that will
Mm,
definitely help you guys, okay,
yeah.
for that mental energy. Another good tool, very simple tool, but it's the journal, guys, okay? If you start
Boom.
out a day not
Gold.
knowing what you're gonna do, okay, during that day, you're already behind,
Hmm.
okay? Because most likely, and it shows, studies show that people wake up and they take this and they start scrolling, okay? They're done. Okay, so
Hmm.
but if I took literally 10 minutes the night, 10 minutes, okay, I did this 10 minutes the night before in just journaling and simply asking myself, okay, what are my three most important things to get done tomorrow? One, two, three. Well, it's set, okay, already. And as you go to sleep, it's working in your mind, and that's it. So these are just two basic simple things that I truly believe that just implementing that will already uh, help a lot more. Okay, so that's it for me. Man, this conversation was a great one, for sure today. um, if I'm gonna leave with a word, it's gonna be tough, but I would say, yeah, that concept of letting go that we talked about before, shedding. Okay, so man, being naked in front of the world is probably the scariest thing, but the bravest thing also. So if I can get to a place, if most of us can get to a place where we're as naked as possible and comfortable, uh, well, we'll never be comfortable, but we can definitely be happy being there. Um, man, that's what it's all about. So shed what you need to shed so you can be that butterfly. And I'll pass the mic.
Wow. I think for me, the word's going to be breakout, right? Just break out of, when I think about breaking out of any, habits that aren't serving you, um, breaking out of any beliefs that you found to be false, right? Just break away from that thinking. So breakout's my word for the week.
Yeah, Ray, you literally left us though with a next week's conversation because that is so. Ray gave us a couple of goals there, practical. When we talk about the idea of being present, it is true. If the type of person who struggles to go to sleep at night because you're running through the day's events and just wired, I think journaling, emptying your mind in. And by the way, when people say this, oh, empty your mind. I can't meditate. I just can't stop. You don't stop your brain from running. You have to have a lobotomy. That we call death, I think, coma. Um, you don't do that. What you do is you stop the noise or the clutter from taking up space and having power over everything else that you're doing. So journaling is incredible. It's incredible, and as Ray said, the human mind, high performers, people who are high performance people, love order. They love to know. The one thing about people who are great is they have a little bit of OCD. They're repetitive. They do the thing over and over again, and they like order. They don't get up into chaos. So yes, journaling is crucial to get those things out of your mind. I love journaling. I love to reflect and see, why am I doing this? Why do I keep doing the thing I'm doing that's not working? Or if it's working, how can I do it better? So journaling is key. It's so key, and being mindful of having that order in your life, having structure is crucial for high performance. So great tips. And we gotta dive into that a little bit later. So my word then is questioning, introspection, questioning. You have to question every so often. If it's not working, why don't you question it instead of constantly just we're this way. We like your culture. That's just what we do. But are you happy doing what we do? Right? Or is it time to change? Yeah, what you do and what quote unquote we do, we did that in 1902. Is it still appropriate in 2025 to still do what we do? Right? So we got to question things. Is it okay to have uh, you know, the viewpoint you have still? Is it still okay to have that viewpoint about that group of people or that gender or that what yeah, that might have worked for you or for whoever it worked for 100 years ago, but you're in 2025. So adapt. So anyways, great conversation. As usual. I enjoyed this one because I love this idea of change. I love the idea of being adaptable because life will make you adaptable. Leave you with this one. I remember studying when I was studying ecology, the willow tree is able to bend and with the wind it bends. And with a stiff tree, whatever tree you want to choose that's stiff without any bend in it, during a windstorm, that thing breaks. And life is like that. If you're not able to bend and go with it, it will bend you over and break you. Right? So be like the willow tree, be like water, adapt. So, anyways, everyone, we hope you got something from that. We wish and desire that you journal, go deeper on it. That'd be amazing. Then I really know we have a community of students of the game, and let's build this community. And I want to remind you, one of my goals is by the end of the year is to sometime in the fall is to have our first greatness seminar, our first mastery seminar, and just continue to roll it out. That's one of my gifts I want to give back is get on that channel. So stay tuned. All right, before we leave, we always want to wish our listeners, and today we need peace, and we're gonna send you love. But let's finish off with a little sprinkle of soul.
So,
All right. All right. So hope we served you up some good soul food. Until next time, peace and love. We're out.